Hello fellow makers, and welcome to the second class of our 3D printing program. Today I'll be taking you over how to design Minecraft party glasses and your own dice. Now during these instructions, you don't have to follow along exactly if you wanted to try making it a different type of shape or putting your own designs in certain things. That's completely up to you. But just to make things easier for your first time going through this, I suggest following along, or you can it's a free program. It's completely web-based. You don't have to download anything. So all you have to do is just go to the website, which is tinkercad.com, Tinkercad. But if you don't want to type it in straight in the address bar, you can just go to Google and it will come up. It is owned by Autodesk, which is a very reliable and known company. They're also the owners of Fusion 360, which is what I've talked previously about, and also what I tend to use on my computer. Now, to make an account, it's not too difficult. You just go over there, click Join Now, and then you can click Create a Personal Account. And then you can sign up with your email or with Google. Then all you have to do is just type in your various information. Just to let you know, if you are typing in, I believe it's around age 12, that if you're around that age, you will need a parent's email to authorize you. And by parent's email, they will have to create their own account. But if you're a teenager or an adult, you don't have to worry about that. It's just one of their safety features for Autodesk. All right, then when you get in to your account, when you click up here, Learn, you'll get some basic projects that you can do. As you can see, we're going to be doing the Minecraft party glasses, but there are a bunch of different options to do. You can make a chess pawn or pieces, a ruler, your own luggage tag. But if you click on See All Lessons, you get a wide variety of things, like the dice that we're going to be going over later. And here's also a wrench, some buttons. You could take a look at it. And after you finished our little 2 crash courses, you can take a look around doing some other basic skills. All right, so after clicking on the Minecraft party glasses, you're going to be greeted by this little area. What you see right here is the pre-designed glasses or frames of the glasses that are going to be there. When using Tinkercad or any sort of 3D modeling program, I really suggest having a 3-button mouse. By 3-button, you have the left click, the right click, and the rolly part, the mouse wheel. Because each function helps in here. The right click will let you kind of scroll up and down, while the middle button, the mouse wheel, will let you move around however you want. The left button will just let you highlight for large areas. You can do it with a trackpad, but it's just suggested by me and other people that you use a mouse. It's just going to make your life easier in the long run if you tend to be doing modeling programs. So now, as you can see, on the left side, we have our little instructions that we'll be going around with. So here we go. Let's get started. All right, let me just get this a little bit centered better. Oh, and as a little tip, you have your various different buttons here. This little box orientates the build plate. So if you click this little corner, it's just going to give you a nice 45-degree angle, or you can click front to get a nice front view. I'm just going to stay around with this type of view since we're not doing anything too complicated. But let's say you get some really weird angle and you don't know where you are anymore. Well, if you're in Fusion, it's a lot easier to get completely disoriented. But you can click on Home View and it'll just shoot you straight back in. This will just give you to view the object with everything on the build plate. The plus is zoom, minus is zoom out, or you could just switch to a straight flat view. However, we're just going to stick with what's pre-given us, but just keep that an option. If you're unable to use the right button on your mouse to move the build plate around, you could just use the left one and click on the little cube up here to give you a little view and be able to work around. All right, so now we're just gonna drag our box straight to the build plate. It doesn't have to be super exact, just has to be exact enough within the box outline that they gave us. And now all we have to do is click next. Now it's asking us to scale this box by 5 by 6 by 6. So there's a few ways to do this. One, you can highlight over the little white box at the top, which is the height, and then you can just scale it down like this. Or click on it, then you can just click and select that and then type in the height that you would wish it to be at, and then just click enter, and then there you go. It's the same thing for the width and height. You can either do it like this, or you can just straight type in the number, hit the tab button to be selected onto the other box, then hit the number again. And there you go. It's all set for you to the size that the directions are specifying. Oh, and what I just changed was the little snap. So the little snap grid thing. Here, I can show you. See how it's being kind of not very smooth like getting moved around. So it's snapping 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters almost exactly to the grid that's on there. But if you turn it off, it's a lot more fluid. There's no real, I mean, it just really depends on how you feel about that. It's completely optional for you. There we go. All right, now since we have our first box, we need to fill up these other little transparent boxes over here. Now there's a few ways to make multiple or duplicates of the boxes. You can either select it, and then you can hit Control C and then V to make a copy and paste of it. Same thing on Mac, Command C or Command V, then to get you a duplicate. But in this program, the web-based program, if you do Control D on Windows, you may not see it, but it did make an exact copy. It was just inside the box. And it's going to be exactly the same for Mac. It's just going to be Command D. So now that we already have 2 copies, we don't have to go an additional make 2 copies. So it looks like I'm having some issues. I'm trying to just drag just to select these 2 boxes. But as you can see, I'm getting selected with the little bars, or the parts where it'll lay on top of your ears, the rims of the glasses. So all you have to do is just select the first one and then hold down Shift and then select the second one, and now just select both of them. And then we're just going to hit Command D or Control D to make an additional boxes. And then since it ends off on an odd number, we're just going to make an additional box. And make sure that stuff is somewhat overlapping. I believe they are, but let me double check. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Perfect. All right. And now we just have to scale this box right here. Now you don't have to type in any integer. All you have to do is just click that little bottom and hold it. Just drag it to the specified length that it's requiring. Right? Now, we just have to do that 3 more times. But remember, Control D, and there you go. Now, and if you're worrying about, oh no, it's slipping over here, you don't have to worry about that. As long as you hold down the Shift button, you'll be able to move it vertically without it going side to side. And it's the same thing for horizontally. It's a nice little addition onto it to help keep things exact or in the general area. All right, now we're getting close to being done. All we have to do is just fill out the remaining outlines of the glasses. As you can see, it's a very repeating pattern. So then we don't have to sit and constantly do both sides. We could just do one side and then just copy and paste it and then flip it or do some other little tricks to make it fit into the other areas. So let's begin. All right, here we go. Now, same thing, since this area up here was selecting it, I'm just going to have to go in and just select just 3 boxes. Make that 4, since I just remembered how to count. And then I'm going to hit Control D. And now you're going to see these types of arrows on here. These will control how to spin it horizontally and how to spin it vertically. So since these right here are just about, I believe, a 45-degree angle change on here, I'm just going to drag this over here. And then I'm just going to give it the correct little change. And that was supposed to be a 90-degree difference, not 45. All right, perfect. Now we already have these 2 sides done. Now we're just going to make some additional 3 boxes. So then we can just add on right over here. Duplicate that. And then there you go. We're almost already halfway done. Very nice. 2, 3. Control D. And then we're just gonna spin this. There we go. Oops, that is not really overlapping very well. There we go. That's a little bit better. Just, you can see that some of the objects that I placed are not exactly within the box. That's fine as long as they're overlapping. You can see up here, if I can zoom in, that it is overlapping on here. Later on, when we make this all one solid object, it will be counted as one object. But you have to be careful, because if it's like this, and then if we tried making another box right here, it won't be connected, and then the print won't turn out well. So just keep that in mind. I mean, this stuff doesn't have to be super exact, but if you want it to, you can be. All right, and let's do that. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, as you see, like I was talking about earlier, as long as, whoa! Sorry about that. Make a duplicate of this. What is happening? Okay. All right, I just need to make a duplicate of this. There we go. And again. There we go. All right. As you can see, we've basically filled out the complete left side. Now, technically, if you wanted to, you could do the exact same thing with each individual box over here. But to make everyone's lives easier, all you have to do is just copy and paste it. Now, we have the little 3 areas and right here. So then we're just gonna click Shift and then click, and then Command D or Control D. All right, now we're just gonna make sure to click shift, click shift, click shift. There we go. And now you can see the little blue outline highlighting all the stuff. Then we're just hit Control D, then click and drag. Make sure it's all staying in one object. Now we're just gonna turn this, making sure to keep that little cursor inside that circle here. So make sure it snaps to the degrees evenly. And there you go. That's one part of our glasses. Now let's do the next part. Control D. You can either choose to flip it vertically or horizontally. Just personal preference of what you feel is quicker. There's no super big difference. Just click shift, click shift, click shift. And then Control D. Click, so then it's considered, so we just drop it off in there. And then same thing. Drag this up. Move about. Turn it. Alright, and now we're on to our next step. Getting close to that, around step 8 of 9. And now we're just going to click and just make a gigantic square highlighting everything. Now there's a couple ways to do it. You can either click the button that's on the toolbar on the top. It's the group button that looks like a fused two shapes of a square and a circle. Or you can hit Control G or Command G, and that's just the keyboard shortcut. Now just give that a second. You can see that if it is successful, all of it will change to the same singular color. And as you can see, it's all the color. I believe that's violet, or it could be pink. It doesn't matter. All right. Hey, when you've done it and finished it correctly, we get a little celebration from Tinkercad themselves. Welcome everyone. This is our second model that we're going to be designing together. It's a dice from scratch. Now, just to let you know, it doesn't have to be numbers put in here. It could be letters. It doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It could be anything that we can put in there. Just the sort of skills that you're going to be learning on how we design this, you can apply it to anything else that you can make in Tinkercad. So let's start rolling. I apologize for my really bad dad joke. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're going to end up placing in our object in it that will end up being modified. We're just going to scroll down. As you can see, Tinkercad already has a pre-made dice shape, but it is quite possible to make it your own. It's going to be a longer process, but as you can see how the dice is currently shaped. All right, so for our first step in our area, we're going to make sure to look at locate our work plane. So this is just going to help us place tools and our various shapes onto that specified area. Okay, so we just need to select our work plane, which is very nicely labeled over here. Just gonna click right there. And as you can see, we need to make our work plane right over here. And what's nice is it's already pre-shown. Now, if you change the view to the very front, you can see that our work plane, this orange area, has been designated right here. And now that's just going to help us when we're placing objects. All right, so for our very first number, we're going to end up going back to our little basic shapes, and then we're just going to click on our different selection so that we can get our numbers. And as you can see, it's very nicely labeled, text and numbers. But the numbers are going to be on the bottom. They're going to be on the second page. So then we just click and drag. And there's our number 1. Very nice. We're getting there. We're getting there. Now, since we're going to be taking, how this dice is going to be made, we're going to be placing the different numbers on each side, and then we're going to be cutting the shape out. So even though we placed it on here, we still have to drop it down a little bit. It has given us a nice little layout on how deep it needs to be. There we go. And as you can see, this dice wasn't perfectly centered, but there's no mistakes. They're just happy little accidents. Just like a fellow painter, a famous painter, has said. But depending on how old you are, you may not get that reference. All right, now it's going to be the exact same process for the rest of the sides. We're just going to click on the work plane button and then select that specific side, just so we have a new place to lay it perfectly flat on. No, technically, if you wanted to, this doesn't have to be number 2. I mean, it could be 3, 4, 6, whatever makes you happy. Let me just move that so it's a little bit more aligned. And then this thing's going to be going about, I believe, yeah, about 1 millimeter in. All right, then here's the third side. It's going to be number 3. Carefully place that there. Ooh, I did actually a pretty good job centering that. Drag that in about 1 millimeter. Very nice. All right, now here's the other side. In the beginning, you probably found it a little difficult doing those types of shapes for the first and second one, but you know, this is pretty repetitive. And once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. It really does help. After working with 3D modeling, you tend to get a new type of mindset, basically thinking in 3 dimensions. Sounds kind of odd, but after working with this sort of stuff, you could just get to a point of looking at a 3D print, and then you could just tell if it's able to print or not, or if it was mold made or not. There we go. Now we're on number 5. Go, just center that a tad bit more. And now just drag it, push it into the dice, about 1 millimeter. Oh, and it looks like I was a tad bit off. All right, there we go. And now for the final one, number 6. There we go. And then we're just gonna have to change that angle slightly. Let's push it in about 1 millimeter. Get that a little bit more exact. All right. Now we've got all the numbers that we wanted to use in there. So before proceeding, we're gonna have to reset the work plane. Otherwise, it's gonna get wonky. All right, so new work plane, or resetting it. And all I just did was click work plane and just could have clicked anywhere on there on that little blue square, as long as it wasn't on any of the objects. All right. Now, just like how I previously done before when making the party glasses, we're gonna have to select all these individual numbers. So you're gonna be using some of those skills that we've learned over this video. Here we go. All right. And now, we're not going to group them. We selected all the objects, and now you can see up here that it's the shapes panels open up and they're selected as a solid. Apologize for that, that was my chair. They're all selected as a solid. Now we're going to change them to whole. Now, this completely changed their function from being an object. Now they're erasing whatever object they're going to be going into. Now we haven't finalized this yet, but it's already giving you a kind of view on how it's going to look. And I did not select 6 correctly. There we go. So now, to make the dice as a dice, we're going to select everything. You can just click and drag and that should select everything. And if you just want to double check, give a little tour, a little spin around of the dice. And then you're going to click group. Now, grouping with objects that are considered a whole are going to be erasing the specific sections that they're in. So that little preview that we're getting right now is going to be what it looks like. Hey, we made our dice. Very nice, very nice. And then there you go, you designed your own dice. However, you don't have to, like I said in the beginning, you don't have to put in your own numbers. There's a bunch of different types of shapes that have been pre-made. Like if you wanted a little mustache on the side of your dice as a little option for a unique game that you made, it's completely up to you. These are just some of the little options in here that you can choose to use from. You can do basic shapes. There's a bunch of different options in here, and I suggest looking through it. Now, I hope you've had a good time watching this, and I hope I was able to explain some questions that you might have had for using Tinkercad. However, if I wasn't able to get to anything or I was not clear enough on it, you can always take a look at one of our online resources called lynda.com. Under there, they actually have a specific course, a beginner's course for Tinkercad. In order to get there, all you have to do is to go to our main website, pclib.org, and it'll be under our resources. Then once there, after clicking on lynda.com, you're just typing in your library card information, just your library card number and your PIN number, and then that's your account. Completely free. You don't have to pay for it. That's what makes it so great. These courses are what I like to say college grade. They're made by professional people, and it's basically a school without a degree. I mean, I learn from here from constant things. I constantly keep looking into 3D printing, model making, and all sorts of stuff that pertain to my job. And as you can see, after typing in Tinkercad, we have a bunch of different options that range from beginner to intermediate. So whenever you have some free time, just sit down and watch those videos. They're very informative, and I really suggest that you watch those. What I just went over today was just a very specific how-to on to design 2 things. However, these things will go over a much broader and specific areas where you may have questions that I was unable to answer. So thank you for watching along. Make sure to like and follow us on Facebook to get updates on other programs that are going on, and also my next and final 3D printing program that's going to be happening next week, which is about to bring your ideas to life. So I hope you had a good time. Thank you.